Hi, everyone. I will be talking today about cognitive spatial skills. So, what is cognitive spatial skills? So, this is how things move and fit into space. Children or adults will determine how a shape or thing relates to other shapes or objects by identifying them, recognizing them, and then visualizing them. Let's look at what that looks like in infant and children. So, infant and children, this is they're starting to recognize faces, animals, and objects. So they're recognizing. They're also remembering where those objects are, how those objects move, and then how they fit in relation with other objects. This is such as like reaching towards toys, stacking blocks. They're exploring how objects fit in relation to other objects. So then let's look at what that looks like for teenagers and adults. So for teenagers and adults, that's imagining a shape in a different perspective, such as an object rotated. For example, they're able to determine there's a diamond that is rotated on its side, and we're still able to determine that it's a diamond, even though it's not straight up and down. Also, this is like hidden pictures, because a lot of times hidden pictures have objects in them that are turned different ways to hide them, but you're still able to locate those objects. So that's what it is. So now let's kind of look at the development and the developmental milestones. Let's first look at early development. So this is roughly 0 to 12 months old. We're seeing children are able to, they're identifying face-like objects or shapes. They are visually tracking moving objects or items or people. They are crawling towards their toys or interesting objects, and they're also reaching towards items. So then now let's look at roughly about 8 months old. So this is when things are in movement, such as those, visually tracking those moving objects. They're exploring those sizes and shapes, observing people, observing objects, observing pets in their house. They're using their vision and hearing to do these things. So they're tracking, they're watching a ball roll away. They're putting items into a container and then dumping those items out and doing it over again. So those are some things that we see at roughly about 8 months old when they're developing these skills. So then let's look at 18 months. So this is when they're using those trial and errors to explore and beginning to problem solve, and using a lot of those toys, those educational developmental toys. For example, for some of those toys would be nesting cups. So exploring and seeing how do they fit together. Completing simple puzzle boards, putting the puzzle shapes, a circle into a circle or a square into a square. So they're seeing how those fit together. Shape sorters. Those are also very commonly toys. So they're trying to fit the shapes inside the shape sorters, and they're doing those trial and errors. They're seeing a triangle and maybe they're trying to put it into a diamond, and they keep trying and trying, and then they figure it out that, oh, that's not where it goes into the diamond or the triangle or whatever. And then also they're wanting to have like bigger, they're noticing bigger items versus smaller items. So maybe their mother gives them a option between a small cookie or a big cookie, and they choose the big cookie. They're understanding those concepts. So now let's look at 36 months, or roughly 36 months. So now they're predicting how things move and fit, and they're using a lot of language and vocabulary, and they're understanding those words that are being described to them. So if a parent says, "Go get the big spoon off the table," they understand this is the big spoon versus this is a small spoon. So they're using vocab. And they're such as big or small. They're putting simple puzzles together. They are stacking things from big to small. Understanding, they're beginning to understand simple prepositions. Oops. And maybe they're participating in obstacle courses. So maybe they're understanding, okay, first you go under the bench and then you stand up and go over the hurdles, and they're understanding some of those simple directions now. So then as they become toddlers and on into it, they're just becoming more curious about their surroundings. They're starting to use their imagination. So they are using their imaginations to use toys to resemble objects. So such as using a remote control as a telephone, and playing in that sort of way. So they're using a lot of their imagination to explore their surroundings. Okay, so then let's go ahead. So here's some interventions that we could do for children that maybe are having some deficits in these spatial relation skills. So we could use prepositions to describe things such as far, near, tall, short, right, left, big, small, all these things to describe things. Have your child expose them to building blocks. Have them participate in puzzles, all sorts of levels, whether it's a block puzzle or interlocking. Have them participate in shape sorters, because these are great for those trial and errors of trying to find where those shapes fit. Obstacle courses, like we've already said, are great for these kind of skills, to develop these skills. And then also like a one that came to mind is the Guess Who game, because they are using a lot of those prepositions to describe the people or the characters in the game. Okay, so then let's move on. So common assessments that can be used to look at a child's spatial relation skills are one of them is the Bailey scales of infant development, and this is 1 to 42 months. Another one that would be good is the Berry VMI, and this is ages 2 and up. Another one that would be good is the DTVP 3. So this is the developmental test of visual perception. And this is for ages 4 to 12 years. And this one's really good for what I was saying earlier about shapes being in different, rotated different ways and being able to still determine that that's the shape. This is a really good test for that. And then another assessment that would is the BOT. This would look at these skills, and that is for ages 4 to 20 years. So these are some assessments that can be used to just look at those skills. All right, so that pretty much sums up my presentation for you. And here is the references that I used, which can be available to you through the discussion board. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Thank you.